In my last video, we extracted the coefficients from our predictive algorithm to automatically produce a first draft variance analysis. Today, we are going to use those same extracted coefficients to perform scenario analysis. Our predictive algorithm is inherently reliant on forward-looking inputs. These inputs obviously could change based on market conditions. Because we know these factors, we can start to outline what different market conditions could look like and subsequently how those conditions impact our output. We start by generating our time frame. Our sequence formula will be 14 weeks in duration, starting with the last week of actuals. Next, we will populate the receipts forecast as well as the forecasted independent variables for those receipts. This forms the base case for our 14-week forecast. We can even reuse our sum-ifs formula from the forecast for each of the independent variables. All we need to do is change the column references. Next, we can build our scenarios. Let's assume a scenario with better sales and prices than our forecast, as well as a lower DSO. We'll assume a worst-case scenario where sales and prices shrink and DSO increases. And then we'll assume a scenario somewhere in the middle. In the real world, these would be grounded in significant cross-functional partnership and leadership alignment. With our scenarios outlined, we can now apply them to our forecasted baseline to see how they will impact our predicted receipts. We use an lookup function to find the appropriate scenario, and then apply that scenario to the respective independent variables. Oops, screwed that up. Let's fix that. Let's apply these rates to the base forecast. Now we have new forward-looking independent variables. We can apply the coefficients to these new variables, apply the intercept, and now we have the anticipated receipts for the first scenario we outlined. How cool is that? Based on the scenario we outlined, we have a ready-made receipts figure to compare to our base case. Now to do a little bit of formatting cleanup. Now we can simply copy and paste our way through the other two scenarios. It is also valuable to have a catch-all manual override scenario where you can be super precise about one-off events that you know are coming but don't inherently fit within the broader scenario you've outlined. I am simulating this by using a RAND between formula. Now let's put all of our receipt outcomes right next to each other. The concat function is this great hidden gem in Excel. It saves me a ton of time to make sure my naming conventions always match. A mentor of mine early in my career once told me, you should only be entering things once in Excel. Let's add some variance calculations to our table, and this thing is starting to look pretty good. Next, we are going to build a visualization around this analysis. We'll start by creating a data validation dropdown that will allow the user to toggle between our scenarios. We then create a row around this selected scenario and leverage the selected value to lookup the appropriate values. Now we are ready to build our visualizations. We will build one chart that shows the selected scenario compared to the base forecast, and we will show another that visualizes the variance between the two. Now, let's assume that we want something a little more specific and intuitive than scenario 1, 2, and 3. Maybe something like medium case, best case, and worst case. Here is where using those concat functions really comes in handy. Instead of having to rename them everywhere, I just have to rename them in our input table. If you like this content, smash that like and subscribe button, and if you want more, check out my Substack, The Ref Report. Link in the description.